Okay, everyone. Good afternoon. How are we?
We're doing good.
Okay.
It's a beautiful day.
Yes, it is. I just snuck out for a couple minutes myself.
Yeah, I was eating lunch, or eating part of my lunch out on the porch, the back porch.
Pam, are you still at your cabin?
We came back yesterday. We went home on Friday and came back last night.
Okay.
So yeah, we're up here.
All right. Well, I want to make sure you guys get maximum benefit from being on the call. So talk to me a little bit about what you'd like to hear today, and we'll try to cater it to you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Is today what call is this? I'm sorry. I was thinking.
So this is intended to be the big group session.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that's it.
I think people are on Zoom fatigue though, and they're probably getting ready for for Bold Pivot, which starts in an hour anyway. So because of Bold Pivot, we've moved around a lot of the sessions, the masterminds, and so it just kind of seems like a lot for people, I suppose. I'm going to take a minute while I got you guys on the phone now and remind you about reporting. If you have not updated your numbers, please do so. So what you should have done now is actuals and goals for May 1st through 10th and goals for May 11th through 17th. Okay. How are you, Julian? How are you, sir? I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay, so if you have not completed, if there's any reporting from April that you're not caught up on, please take a minute to input those numbers for me so I can go ahead and close out April. And everyone else, if you can update your numbers for May, whether it be goals or actuals or both. That would be much appreciated. Okay, and I believe Julian just have the goals to do for this current period. Okay, what are we facing out there? Who wants to speak? Okay, you guys want me to tell you stories, or what should we work on? I can't even see anybody. How are we doing with Bold?
Okay.
Julian, hey, sorry, what's up, sir?
So I'll be home in 5 minutes. I'm driving, so I'm gonna just put my video off.
Okay. You have a decent excuse. Understandable.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. How are you, Julian? Are you doing Bold?
Yes.
Beautiful. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, it's dynamic. I enjoy it. I just think it's a lot of energy going on and a lot of resources.
Awesome. Awesome. If you could fill out the goals for this time period, the 11th through the 17th, that would be fantastic, sir.
Will do.
Okay. Okay. Who else? Anything else? Anything that in particular that stood out for you in the Bold room so far? Anything you've adopted in your business right away? Close it, please.
Well, I've adopted just the care calls coming from a care and not dollar signs.
Yes. So how does that come across in your language?
Well, it's certainly more comfortable, and you certainly don't leave the call, even if it's not a positive call, you leave, satisfied that you came from the right spot, whether they were receptive or not.
Good. Have you gotten some good feedback from that?
Yeah, I'm also doing the database, and that's even more successful at that. So touching base, got a potential listing later in the month. Keller offers prospect as well.
Did you find them by soliciting the Keller offer process?
Yeah, I use it on a lot of the food posts I call, and the expireds sometimes. Depends on if it's right up for expires. But on food posts, a lot of times if they're under the $500 limit, 500,000 limit, I use that if they sound at all needy.
All right, let's do a quick role play. I want you to explain to the others, if you would, kind of how that sounds like and what that pitch sounds like. Just as a sidebar, does everyone know what Keller Offers is? Keller Offers is Keller Williams' version of essentially an iBuyer. So if you go through a certification class like Julian has gone through, you can share the details of a property and get a written offer, a real written offer within 2 days, I think, right? And
right.
You know, there may be opportunities, you know, it may be an offer the seller is willing to entertain. Just like most iBuyers, it is generally below market value, but there's a place for that. There's some situations the seller needs to sell, and that's a fair opportunity for them. Our job is to make sure they understand kind of what maybe fair market value is versus what this offer is, and see which one might be the better strategy. All right, Julian, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
So the one iBuyer I got was from a call. It looked like they had cut their price pretty much in good neighborhood, et cetera. So I called them. I left a message, and part of that message involved the Keller offer process. And it wasn't 5 minutes before the guy called back, and it led to a appointment out to his home. And this was before the COVID thing. So and then we submitted the application and got an offer, kind of a lowball offer, which of course
walk me through that first phase. So what did your message sound like? Let's pretend I'm a FSBO and I let my voicemail pick up, and you're you. I want to hear what your voicemail sounded like.
I think I said, hi, it's Julian Harris, local agent, just calling about to see if your home is still for sale. I noticed it's been on the market for a good while. I have an instant offer for you, or I think I said more like, I've got an offer for you. If you're interested, give me a call. Just a really short, quick message.
Wow. Okay. And that guy didn't waste any time, huh?
5 minutes, and he was really out of money. They were about breaking even. I think his wife still had a job, but he did not. So it was a tough situation. Very nice people.
What was the difference between their listed price and Keller Offers' offer?
It was right terrible. They were at high threes, 380, 385, 390. And the offer came in at 318, something like that. So it was quite a difference. They improved it twice. We came back and asked for reconsideration. And then they brought it up about $10,000.
Okay. And did that seller, what was their kind of attitude around it? Were they like, oh my gosh, this guy's trying to scam me? Or were they appreciative that you went through the trouble to do that? And now that they say, okay, well, that offer's not going to work. Do you feel like that gave you an inside track to help them?
It did. They never felt scammed. But the problem was they had on their own before I started had gotten an offer from one of the other competitors in the 340s, and he said that was no good. So once we got the Keller offer, I knew we were not in good shape there. But
right.
he, I've been coming at him just following up. Oh, the day I had the appointment, he got a job offer. So
nice.
I'm sitting there thinking, you just saved yourself the financial need to sell so as much. So I don't know, but he did. He hasn't been very receptive.
Well, that depends. Did they stick their home in the market because they lost their job, or did they have a motivation prior to losing the job?
No, I think he was self-employed. That business was not doing well. So I think really they were he basically said, look, I've got no money. I've got just enough to eat on. And, and was very honest and straightforward about it. So, I changed my calls now to totally care calls to this guy, because I figure at some point, he's there. We've met, and, could be just a nurture at this point.
And you might be able to help him, downsize, or, if that payment is too much for him based on his, on the, how his business is going and how his income is going, that may not be the right place for him. He might reconsider the type of property he lives in.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'll call him about once every 10 days, something like that.
Yeah. Just deliver some, what we used to do in the original Bold Classic was, you'd call at the beginning of every week and just say, hey, how many offers did you get this week? Or is your home still available? And they'd say yes. And you say, well, how many offers did you get in the last 7 days?
Right, 0.
Don't ask them, did you show the home? You'll get to that. Ask them, the bottom line is, did you sell your home, yes or no? So they're going to answer no, right? Meaning the home is still available. Next question you say is, so how many offers did you receive this week? And again, more than likely, they're going to say no to that, or none. And then you say, oh gosh, and you're basically an actor. So you're saying, oh my gosh, no offers. So how many showings did you go on? Well, 1, but it was an agent trying to get my listing. So basically a whole week went by and no new buyer saw the property and no offers, right? And then
exactly.
You're reminding them that they're not being successful, right? And then they say,
sometimes
yes,
they say it's a lowball offer.
Say that's fine. That your job and potentially my job is to help you better understand the current marketplace and the direction that we're headed. So I do think that 340 is the low offer for you right now. And I just wanted to let you know, number one, I wanted to check on you to make sure that the home is still, available or not available. And I wanted to ask again, is there anything that I can do to help you? And they'll say no, or they'll say, bring me a buyer. Say, I get that. Is there anything else I can help you with? No. Okay, wonderful. I'll call you next Monday.
Okay.
And next Monday rolls around and it's the same script. Is your home still available? Yes. How many offers did you receive in the last 7 days? None. How many times did you personally show the home in the last 7 days? 0. This whole COVID is messing us up. Would it surprise you to know that since we last talked, there's been 2,123 homes that have gone on the market? And in that same 7 days, there's been 986 homes that have sold and 1,241 homes, I'm just throwing out random numbers, that have gone under contract. So there's plenty of buyers out there, and there's plenty of sellers that are cashing out, that are selling, that are successfully closing. So how much more time will you be able to wait before you hire me?
Right. That's a
painfully
winning
silent
script.
as possible.
Right.
What?
I said that's a winning script. I mean, you're just opening the door where they've got nowhere to go.
Well, I mean, you're just really revealing the truth, right? It's kind of like you bring home your report card and, your mom says, hey, science, B-, social studies, C+, math, C+. Is there anything that you want to share with me on why these grades are terrible? No. Do you have any intention on improving this? Right? It's like, they know that that's the stats. I was just listening to Gary Keller's thing, his podcast this morning. Okay. And he was saying that he's not a really big sports guy, but he said his favorite section of the newspaper is the sports section. And somebody said, well, why? And he says, because those are the statistics, right? They track everything. And that shows you which teams are performing as a team the best, right? Which people are the most talented? Are there improvements being made? Are there not improvements being made, right? They always have the streak, like this team is, you know, in the last 10 games, they're 8-2 or they're 3-7, right? So we're analyzing what's the trend here? Do things look up or do things look down? We were just looking, I think Lucy sent it out this morning. He said there's no hiding from the truth. There's no hiding from statistics, right? I believe Lucy sent it out this morning, which is the new weekly chart masters, right? Yeah, she sent it out at 11:37. I'm sorry, 11:58. Okay, and there's a slide in there where they're comparing the number of homes that have gone under contract year over year based on week. And what we're seeing is the number of sales for this past week was way down. But that's a function of the ones that went pending 4 and 5 weeks ago, right? So we're looking at what's going pending today to forecast what's likely to close in the next 4 to 5 weeks. And this is the closest, if you look at year over year, 2019 versus 2020, this is the closest we have been since the beginning of March, meaning the smallest difference between the under contracts between each particular week in 2019 versus 2020. What that tells me is that we might be coming out of this a little bit. Okay. So the question is, guys, are you studying the numbers like that? Right? So every time that she sends these reports, we ought to be looking in there and trying to figure out what story is being told. And Julian, when you get in front of a FSBO that is frustrated because no one's looking at their property or no one's submitting offers, you can say, rather than saying, well, there's a lot of homes selling, you say, would it surprise you to know that, and tell them the number, right? Know that number right off the bat. Hey, 948 homes have gone under contract since we last spoke, right?
It's powerful, yeah.
Right. And I know that seems surprising to you, but I can send you pictures of every single one of them if you'd like. Right. We can look through them one by one. My job is to help you, sir. Right. I see you already shared with me that you're in a bit of a predicament. And as a professional real estate agent that studies the market day in and day out and meets with ready, willing, and able buyers and sellers day in and day out, it's my job to share what I know with you. And here's what I'm seeing. Okay. Now, how can I help you today? Right? And just let the silence do the heavy lifting.
Right.
Okay. Who else wants to share? Welcome, Alicia. You came in the middle of that diatribe.
I know I wasn't sure what you guys were discussing, but I'm assuming it was a conversation of talking to a FSBO for cold calling. Is that correct?
Yeah, this was basically a FSBO that Julian has been chatting with that expressed to him kind of the dire situation that they were in. The gentleman did not have a job when they first started talking, now has a job. And I was suggesting to Julian that he call, number one, you should probably be calling more than once every 10 days. And then back in the classic bold, we talked about this idea of calling every Monday and basically saying, is the home still available? Hey, it's Julian. It's time for a Monday call. I just want to check in. Is the home still available?
I love that. I love that. I love the psychology behind making them understand their incompetency without really, putting it in their face like, oh, your house is still on the market. Like, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So is the home still available? Yes. Okay, so, and then asking that. All right. I'm sure you're trying to fix that just like me, Julian.
I am.
All right, you've been muted. No offense.
None taken. I'll get it.
All right. Who else is in trouble? Okay. And it's that question of, how many offers did you receive this week? How many showings did you have this week? Right?
Yeah.
It's making them say like, multiple times I'm being unsuccessful. And then you right there with the real stats of activity that's happening in the marketplace to let them know that the whole world isn't falling apart. It's just the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing or she doesn't know what she's doing. And it's time to hire the right real estate agent.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that a lot.
All right. I think you're in here twice, Julian. I'm going to mute your other one. Wait, hang on. All right, I think we got it fixed. Okay, who else has got something on their mind? How are you doing, Martha?
Hey, Bill. I
Hey,
have a
sorry.
question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm good. Oh, no worries. I'm good.
Okay, you enjoying Bold?
Yes, I am. I'm getting a lot out of it. Very motivational.
Beautiful. Stephanie, did you want to share something?
I do. I have a question. I'm a little confused about the why we would go between Shelter Mortgage and Kelly. Is it Kelly Mortgage or Keller Mortgage? What is?
Keller Mortgage.
It's Keller Mortgage. I'm just a little. I've looked at it on the app, but I'm a little confused about the Keller Mortgage.
Has anyone used Keller Mortgage on the call by chance?
No, I just remember that Keller mentioned it. Gary Keller mentioning it, but I don't know where it is and how to do it or access it as well.
Yeah,
I never have, but I've also talked to Kathy Vitale, and she can match or beat what they do.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So first of all, there's no requirement that you use either one.
Okay.
You don't have to use Keller Mortgage, and you don't have to use Kathy. Your job is to secure the best information and loan package that you can by connecting them with people that you trust, right?
Okay.
I believe the lender has to earn your business just like every other person, every other type of vendor, right? So if you hire a carpet cleaner and they suck, don't call them back, right? If you hire a home inspector who doesn't take ownership of the things they inspect, and I've had, oh my gosh, I could tell you nightmare stories about home inspectors who literally walked the woman from the kitchen where we were talking about the home inspection and said, here, come with me, walked her over to the laundry room and said, since you'll be spending a lot of time here, I want to show you something.
OMG.
And I literally, that was the most expensive home I ever had under contract, and it did not close. And I have not talked to that inspector since, other than to tell him that was insanely inappropriate. And I said, we're not going to be doing business anymore, sir. Have a nice.
Wow.
Right. I don't know if you remember, Pam, you knew who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about, and that wasn't the only thing he did.
You're actually right. He was given that was his second chance, actually. I almost cut him off the first time he screwed something up. Anyway, if the people don't live up to the standards that you set for yourself and for your business and that you expect to deliver to your clients, they don't belong in your organization. I usually give people one chance. Every once in a while, I'll give them a second chance, but I've got a pretty short leash when it comes to that stuff. So with that said, my experience has been that Keller Mortgage has supplied great customer service, great loans. They almost always close on time. It's over 99%. Keller Mortgage is kind of the, how do I want to say this? We have to understand this is about data. Everything is about data right now. Okay, the more data of a real estate transaction that Keller Williams can get access to, the more strategic they can be as they are helping you and your clients behave through artificial intelligence and algorithms and all that stuff. So in an effort to, in my opinion, take more data, that's why they are And it's just more convenient and easier to keep everything in house. So again, it's not required, but that's why they have Keller Covered, Keller Mortgage. That's why they're going to have Keller Property Management, and all of these things. Just like it's a data grab. Let's just call it what it is, right? But the question is what are they going to use the data for? And I have full faith that Keller Williams will use it to the benefit of our agents and the clients that are working with our agents. Okay. It is my experience, like Pam suggested, that every time any of our people have ever got a quote from Keller Mortgage, Kathy has been able to either meet it or beat it. Okay. I do not have the name of a direct contact for Keller Mortgage. I can ask her around the office. We can put it on Slack or something. I do think it'd be helpful just to have somebody's name and number handy in case, maybe Kathy can't do it, or for whatever reason it is, or you just want to try it out, and develop a relationship with somebody and decide, hey, this is somebody I want to do business with or not.
A couple of people have mentioned names on the GLG Facebook page, so you could probably, likely find it there. My biggest concern about using any national lender,
Yep,
or even
Appraisal.
regional lender, is appraisals and
Yep.
who's in their appraisal pool.
Does everyone know what that means, what Pam's saying? Pam, why don't you tell us what that means?
Well, frequently those companies use, pay less than other mortgage appraisal management companies, which means they typically will get something like, I'll say the bottom feeder appraisers. And you may get an appraiser to appraise a house in Alpharetta that is from Stockbridge and doesn't know the Alpharetta market. Whereas I know like Shelter, for example, has their own appraisal management company. So while they still have to rotate among their appraisers, lenders can no longer have like a favorite appraiser they use. So that even though they have to rotate among their appraisers, they have certain requirements for their appraisers. For example, if the house isn't going to appraise, the appraiser has to contact the agent and the buyer's agent to let them know so that they can set, maybe provide some insight that the appraiser didn't already know.
Before it's delivered.
Before it's delivered, yes.
Which is the magic word right there.
Yes.
In other words, your buyer or the buyer isn't going to get a low appraisal, and the first time you find out about it is when you're given an amendment to reduce the sales price. So meaning if the appraiser is having trouble appraising the home, meaning they can't get to the value that the sales contract has, the contract price, then they would call the agents and say, hey, I got an issue here. Who wants to share some comps with me? Otherwise, we're going to have a little value issue that you're going to have to resolve, and that could cause a bump in the transaction or complete fall apart of the transaction. There's also, as we know, a lot of nuances with areas, right? An out of the area appraiser might not know nuances between, let's say, Walton High School and Sprayberry High School, or Vanderlyn Elementary School in Dunwoody and one of the elementary schools that's not Vanderlyn, right? And they may not understand the nuances of, new construction and how that's affecting prices, or whether a home has, is in a neighborhood with a bunch of rentals. And, it's just the more educated the more of an educated appraiser you can get, the more likelihood their opinion of value will match the opinion of value of what a willing seller and a willing buyer came to. Does that make sense? Pam, did you want to add anything?
Yes, well, and just especially, to me, there's especially concerns in like large subdivisions that may be divided between other, elementary or middle or high schools. Like in East Cobb, there's Indian Hills subdivision. Well, most of it is districted to Walton High School, which everybody is like, oh, woo, 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 it's Walton. And the rest of it's to Wheeler. The Wheeler section does not have the value that the Walton section has, even though they're in the same neighborhood.
Right, and it hasn't always been that way. Right, what was it, like 10 years ago or so, they redrew the map and the Wheeler people got, pretty pissed off.
Right.
Also, there's a lot of subdivisions, especially up in North Metro Atlanta. You see a lot of this in like North Fulton, especially in South Forsyth, where the neighborhoods had like multiple phases, right? And maybe the first grouping of homes sold in 2003, 2004, and they were about to start the next grouping of homes when the market crashed, and then they didn't see anything in there until 2012, 2013, and they were half the size, right?
Yes, much smaller lots, half the size, you know, a different builder.
Right. So a local appraiser will know that stuff. An out of area appraiser will have no clue. And by the way, getting an appraisal amended is pretty much the most difficult thing you'll ever do. Ever. Does anyone want to fight me on that?
Say that again.
Well, the thing is particularly this is even more the case now, which is there's so much scrutiny under an appraisals now. Ever since it's kind of lightened up a little bit over the last few years, but particularly as we were coming out of the last crash, there was so much scrutiny over appraisers that their jobs were on the line, right? So if they were putting out appraisal values and then, you know, let's say somebody considered that to be inflated and then it caused the home to go belly up and lose it to the bank, they would go back and say, well, hey, you were wrong on this value and you didn't get a job here anymore, right? And so everyone was so nervous about being high or being low, and everyone was just so hesitant and gun shy that I think for a while the appraisers were extra conservative. Right. And now what ends up happening is they don't want to make any adjustments because it could seem like it's coercion, right? And it's fraud or something, right? So even if it's like going up, you know, even if it's like, dude, this home is in Walton and all 4 of your comps are in Wheeler, doesn't make sense. Don't you know anything about East Cobb? And they're like, I don't care. I'm not changing it. It's like, you have 4 + 4 is 8 here, or it's 4 + 4 is 10 here. He's like, I don't care. I'm not changing it. I said, but 4 + 4 is 8. He said, I don't care. I'm not changing it. Right? Like, you can argue yourself till you're blue in the face. The beautiful thing about having a conversation with the appraiser before it's submitted is you get to address little stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, I always try to give them the comps. I remember when we had the conversation with, is it DL appraisers? Is that who came out?
DS Murphy.
DS Murphy, yeah. I always try to have the conversation prior to when I, you know, as a listing agent, when I know that I'm going to have to handle the appraiser, I try to, you know, get there, give them the comps, and give them some other helpful things that have gone on with the home or in the neighborhood so that they can understand where the price, like where I came from. And that seems to help, but I have had some challenges on a couple of deals that it didn't matter what I said or what I did, they were still adamant about their price. The interesting thing is that when my house, after it's sold, is used for a comp and I get a call from another appraiser, that other appraiser's like, wow, I don't understand where he got his price point for because this house is really worth, you know, so much more. And I'm just like, yeah, I know that, but there's nothing I can do about it now, you know?
Right. I think our job is to do the absolute best we can and to be prepared for any type of chaos that might be created around our transaction with our client, right? So for example, if a home had multiple offers and it ended up going under contract for more than the list price, I would put a comment in the even the public remarks that says multiple offers, highest and best, right? That way, when they looked into the system, they would see it was pretty obvious it was multiple offers, but I wanted them to see it, right? Or in some situations, I'd go and take the super lockbox off the door and put a combo lockbox up, or so that they'd have to call me for the code.
Oh, okay, got it. Right. Okay.
Or I'd take the whole thing off altogether and say, hey, seller doesn't want a box on there, so you're gonna have to meet me.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I do this all the time. I want to switch, sir.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that could go either way. They could either be happy or very pissed off that you've inconvenienced them.
You know what? My job is to do everything I can do to make sure that value comes in strong.
Mm-hmm.
And say, I'm only doing my job, sir. So I just wanted to hand you a packet of paper. You can use it, you can not use it. I just wanted to do my best, right?
Yeah,
I'll help
definitely.
you understand where we came from, what the activity was like. I say, hey, we had 17 showings in the first 2 days, and we had set 6 offers, 4 of which were above list price, and 2 of them were at list price. So I just want you to be aware of that as you're doing your job. Don't be afraid to tell them what you've experienced, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Does that make sense? Did everyone kind of follow what I'm talking about there? Okay, I'm going to assume that's a yes. Any other thoughts on appraisals? Anything else we want to chat about before we wrap that one up? Cool. Always be top grading your vendors, guys. You know, if you have if you have vendors that come out and excuse me, they're not professional, their prices are off, their work's crappy, they don't belong in your world, right? You want top-notch people that make your life easy, right? This woman that was the buyer's agent on the sale of my townhome, she's a really strong buyer's agent. And quite honestly, what I mean by strong is like, she's a pretty good negotiator, although she probably could have pushed me for more. And she made everyone's job easier, right? Rather than sending me a list of repairs like 2 hours before the due diligence period ended, she let me know everything as lots of communication. And like 5 days before the end of the due diligence period, she sent me her request, and each one had an itemized number. Hey, do this, $50. Do this, $175. Do that, $85. So like you can hire the guy, or we can take the money. I said, take the money, let's move on. Just made it easy. Make it easy for everyone that you work with. And if a partner is not prepared to help you make it easy, again, if you like the guy or like the woman, tell them, just be blunt. Hey, this is what I need, right? If you're interested in working with within these parameters, we're going to be a great team. If not, we're not going to be a team at all, right? I mentioned this the other day when I was talking about CPAs. It's like saying, hey, I'm going to run my business off the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. I want you to know this budget model by heart, okay? And then I want you to tell me, how do you want me to deliver all the information to you so your job can be easy while running this model? By the way, are you interested in this job? Yes, beautiful, right? No, I follow my own model. Okay, thank you so much, sir. I wish you all the best. No hard feelings, but this is the way I'm going to run my business. Cool. Okay. Who else has something they want to chat about? For all the people that came on after I chatted about the tracking, I'm hoping this is, some of us have been on the call, some of us haven't been. The idea here behind the tracking and asking for goals now as well is it really helps me see how you're performing against your goals, and it just gives me more data to analyze to see how things are going, right? So for example, if you have a goal to make 200 contacts and you make 201, that's just like a statement, right? I just did one more for you, Bill, right? But if you had a goal to do 200 and you do 5, then I might call you and say, hey, everything okay? Right? Anything I need to be aware of? Any challenges that you're facing, right? If all of a sudden your goals shrink big time or go up big time, that's telling me something. That's something that I want to inquire about, to learn more about, to see if there's something specific that I can do to help you. Okay. One of the goals that I want to share with you is I do believe these are pretty conservative. I was toying with the idea of raising them, but I'm going to keep them where they are just for this month. I'll probably go up again next month. But my goal for the team is to have 17 listing appointments, 13 listings taken, and close 24 units. Okay. that would be a bit of a jump from this last month. This last month, we had 21 listing appointments, 11 listings taken, and closed 6 units. But we put a lot of units last month under contract, so I think we can do it. Okay. If you have any questions about setting your goals or reporting, let me know. I believe everyone on this call, there might be one person, and I will send that to you very shortly. I've been sending MREA 2 model coaching charts on. That's a wordy way of saying I've copied the spreadsheet that I've been talking about, the economic model spreadsheet, or I'm sorry, the MREA 2 business model spreadsheet with a couple tabs at the bottom. And I found the best way to do this is to create a shared document for each of us. So you should have received an email with a shared document over the last couple of days. And what that is that's our private document just between the two of us. So I'm going to ask that you fill out the bottom 2 tabs, which are the economic model and the listings needed, contacts needed tab. And when you're complete with those, send me a message and we can schedule about a 15-20 minute call to make sure that everyone understands the takeaways from that. The goal there is that is the meat of what we need to do. That is what needs to appear on your GPS. That's also what needs to appear on your 411. And we also need to make sure there's time in your calendar to perform all those tasks. Does everyone understand where I'm coming from or what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. It makes sense to me. I only can speak for me. Thank you for the clarification though.
So the doc I sent to you is just visible between the two of us. Your goals can be super high, super low, whatever it is for you. And then when we're coaching together, we're going to reference that and make sure that you're aware and you have time and planned for all the, what am I trying to say? For the activities that you promised yourself you're going to do. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
We've got about. What made you switch? Was it just, easier to work with us individually? Like, what was the rationale behind separating it out?
It's not that I appreciate that question. It's not that it's easier for me.
No, not for you, for me, for us. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, is it easier for you to, where was it coming from? We were filling it out before, honestly, and then I was downloading it. So, you know what I mean? Like, on the other one, I filled it out, and then I just made a copy and downloaded it for me. And then when you and I had the conversation, we talked about it. So I just didn't understand where we at with this one.
To be honest, I think that it wasn't as scalable, to be honest, because what was happening was some people were doing it that way and some people weren't looking at it and some people weren't completing it correctly, and it was hard. Like, I just didn't have enough. I wasn't able to get it fast enough, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this was a way of having a joint sheet that we can write notes back and forth, we can make adjustments and we can both see it. It's kind of a tool that we can always access and quickly access for each of us. If we make major changes or even minor changes, we can both see what's happening. Got it. Okay. Yeah, thanks. I mean, if anything, it's more work for me, but I'm want to try to create a as individualized experience as I can, so that you guys can have, for example, if you love generating leads a certain way and your business is kind of set up a certain way, I want to be able to pour into you according to what you need. If Pam's business is totally different, and I want to pour into her the way she needs to hear.
Okay, that's good. That makes sense. That's actually very helpful, because everybody's at different levels, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
I did go back yesterday and make one kind of bigger change, which was it was just getting a little too hairy when I was trying to make calculations based on a less than 12-month plan. So all the plans now are for 12 months. If you desire to accomplish that goal in less than 12 months, then just multiply that or divide that by the number of months left. And that'll be roughly what you have to do. And I can help you with that too. It was just the spreadsheet was getting a little little complex. I don't want you to get caught up in the weeds of that. What I want you to do is go out and find business. Okay.
Yeah.
One other thing that I added to the Google Drive this week was something that I called the PC plan. It's just it's a breakdown of, I did 7 days, basically 28 days. So 4 weeks of 7 days each, and a possible list of lead generation ideas that basically plays, if you will, that you could execute on to help you go get clients, to help you get what my coach calls CC, client creation. How can we, what do we need to do to go get clients? What are you doing today to get a client? Right? Don't get too bogged down in the, well, my app doesn't work this way, or I can't get into DocuSign, or blah, blah. What are you doing to create clients? Right? My goal, quite honestly, is for you to have so much business that you never even open DocuSign. You just get somebody else to manage it for you.
Yeah, I like your goal.
Right? I don't particularly want to learn how to do DocuSign. So I send it to my assistant. I said, you figure this out. Right? So if I sit here all day and do DocuSign, you ain't gonna have a job. That's your job.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm familiar with it, but it did take me a while to see how it was connected to Command, but I was able to get it. But yeah, it would be great, especially because I think as real estate agents, one of the things that we really don't like to do too much is that administrative stuff.
Well, you get to earn the right to open that opportunity to somebody else.
Right. Once you get the business.
Once you lead with revenue, once you create the income, then you can say, hey, world, I have a job opening for you.
Exactly.
Right? It pays $15 an hour, $10 an hour, or $25 an hour, whatever it is. And it involves tools that I don't know how to use, skills that I don't have, software that I don't have, and a patience level I don't have. So who wants this job?
Right.
Me. Great. Thank you. Right? And then we take on new responsibilities, right? I'm essentially feeding a family of 5 in the Philippines. And when their house gets decimated, like literally no roof anymore, she calls me and says, send me a few $1,000s because I don't really have like literally don't have a roof over my head right now. And because of all the things she's done for me and my family over the last 4 years, I take care of her and her family. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So does everybody have an admin over in the Philippines? Because I've heard like 5 people or so talk about their admins in the Philippines. Is it just the labor cost is very low? Or is it?
That's one thing, yeah. The labor cost is definitely lower.
The other thing is they speak English well.
A lot of them do, not all of them.
I mean, not all of them, of course, but a lot of them, because the U.S. had such a strong presence there with bases and stuff.
Right. And they, nothing bad about Americans, but they also have a really good work ethic.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it the work ethic? Right.
Again, not all of them. You still interview them and give them the quizzes and all that stuff. But I found it to be a wise move for me personally.
Okay.
I don't want to sit here and say it's perfect for everybody. There's certainly days where I'm like, damn it, just why can't you do this faster? Right? But then I remind myself that that's not my job. And honestly, there used to be times where I could do something in 3 minutes, or I could teach her how to do it in 5 minutes. And I'd say, well, I'll just do it. And then one day I just flipped. I said, I don't give a damn how long it takes. That's not my job anymore. I don't care if it takes you 2 weeks. I'm not putting that in there. That's your job. And I'm not trying to be like arrogant or anything like that. I'm just saying I need to focus my attention on this.
Right. What makes the one thing the one thing. Right. I got you.
Right. And it's leverage just like every other thing is leverage, right? Do you do your own, are you a lender? Pam, are you a lender?
No.
Work with me here. Are you a home inspector?
No.
Are you a closing attorney?
No.
Did you run title on that house you just sold?
No, I did not.
Okay, what do you mean? So you leverage that stuff?
Yes.
So what's the difference? There's no difference. I don't like folding clothes. We agreed not to let anyone in the house, and I tell you, I've folded clothes 2 or 3 times, and that's the first 2 or 3 times I've done it in 3 or 4 years, and it pisses me off. I do not like doing it, but I definitely pay somebody to cut the grass because I got no interest in that. None. I get no fulfillment from it, and I will literally sit there and watch them do it and then write them a check because I don't want to do it, and I've earned the right not to have to. So that's leverage. There are so many things that we can leverage in our personal life or our professional life that it doesn't come naturally to think about it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
We
definitely.
leverage somebody to go grocery shopping for us today. I don't particularly like going into the grocery store with like a spacesuit on. Depresses me. Right? So for a couple of bucks, somebody drops it off at our doorstep. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'll get to that point where I can leverage a lot of stuff so I won't be pulling my hair out 24/7. But I definitely agree with it. It's very important and it is helpful and it will help the business grow.
So the Philippines is a site where there's a lot of virtual assistant work coming out of the Philippines. You know, remember, they're not supposed to make calls, and nobody's supposed to make calls for you unless they're licensed. I never have had my client or my VA do anything on the telephone with clients. Occasionally she'd set up a closing or something, but she never was in touch with clients. She'd call the closing attorney or the termite company or something like that. But I didn't let her interact with the clients. But she would do some really cool stuff. You ever get those emails? I'll end with this. You ever get those emails that from a buyer that's sending you a handful of homes they want to see, and like 2 of them are the Georgia MLS number, and 2 of them are like a Zillow link, and 1 of them is an FMLS link, and 1 of them is an address. I mean, it literally takes you like an hour to sort through the damn list, right? Not to mention print off everything that needs to be printed off, decide which home's going to go first, which one's going to go second, call everyone and set the appointments. Then home number 3 cancels, and you got to reorganize everything. Like, God. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Like, I just forwarded the email, say, hey, set this up for me. She'd look at my calendar. She knew where I was starting. She knew where I needed to finish. She knew where I lived. I walked her through. I said, can you see? This is Atlanta. That's where I live. That's where the office is. These are the areas that we're going. She knows where Johns Creek is. She knows where Alfred is. She knows where Midtown is, right? And she was able to put this together. Then she'd send me an email that says, house number 1, lock the back door. House number 2, don't let the cat out. House number 3, call me 15 minutes before I'm there. All this is good. We set up I don't know how the hell she did this, but all of a sudden I see print stuff coming off my printer. She's hitting print in the Philippines and it's printing in my own house in Sandy Springs. Oh my gosh. So now I just go downstairs and grab the stack of papers that says it's already in order of where I need to go. And I just walk out the door.
I like that.
Right. So it's all these things that we find ourselves doing that make us feel like we're working, when in fact we're just being inefficient with our time. So how, as you're working over the course of let's say the next couple of weeks, and let's be honest, guys, we're busting it trying to make 40 contacts a day. Bold, like we don't have a whole lot of time for silly tasks like that, right? So what tasks can you identify as tasks that perhaps somebody else should be doing, right? And if you're not ready to pay for somebody else to do that right now, that's fine, but let's set a goal around that, right? I'll pay my VA somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 this year. Probably closer to $15,000, right? I can go secure 1 more listing or 2 more listings and she's paid for, right?
Yeah, and that's for the whole year. That's not bad.
Right. Or I can go attract a couple people to Keller Williams and then profit share will pay for it, right? And there's just so many opportunities out there. Okay, guys, just as a quick reminder, it's be due this week. You're supposed to be calling people with the last names that start with B as in boy, E as in Edward, D as in dog, and O as in Oliver. Please do not forget your individualized masterminds. If you are growth, launch, or emerging, remember every morning from 8:30 to 9, we have our huddle. I am almost updated on YouTube. I uploaded about 5 or 6 videos today, so just have a day or two that I'm behind on. If you have any questions about Bold, please let me know. If you are in need of an accountability partner, let me know. Please do not, please just impress me. Just put in those numbers so I don't have to beg for them, okay? And I want to thank everyone for communicating within the small groups and helping each other out. And I'm really proud of you for your performance over the last couple weeks. And I'm really proud of you for investing in yourself by doing Bold. And I just request that you go all in, okay? All right, y'all. I'll see you in the Bold room.